Happy Halloween and welcome back to a very special Halloween episode of Big Riff Energy. Today I'll be joined by the enigmatic figure behind this new mysterious project called Neon Nightmare. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff. It's going to be an official identity reveal. A lot of people have been wondering who this is. We're going to read some internet comments, negative, hateful, and factually incorrect internet comments. We're going to do a good old-fashioned record unboxing. Everybody loves one of those. We're going to do a bass guitar playthrough / tutorial, but it'll be unlike any other playthrough you've ever seen, and it's going to be at somebody's great expense. That'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, Neon Nightmare's debut album, Faded Dream, is streaming in full over at the 20 Buck Spin YouTube page. There's also a brand new music video. It's a lot of fun, perfect for Halloween, super entertaining. The song is called They Look Like Shadows. That is also streaming on the 20 Buck Spin YouTube channel. But enough about all that. Let's bring the man out himself. You've all been wondering, and today the mystery is solved. So allow me to introduce Neon Nightmare. So if you are just listening to the audio, that was probably a little bit confusing and you missed out on what I think was a pretty good bit there. But man, if you're a member of the Big Riff Energy family, if you are subscribed to this podcast, if you're a listener, if you're a fan of Spirit Adrift, I want to thank you guys first and foremost. And all of y'all figured it out. Day one, I made a record. It's called Faded Dream. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a unique experiment, and a lot of it is what they would call in the pro wrestling business a heel turn. And it's been fun expressing that side of my personality. And this podcast episode is going to be a heel turn. So if you're not into that, if you're not into dark humor and taking the piss out of everything and criticizing the absurdity of everything, including yourself, and you're just here for the endless joy and positivity that I exude on here, or try to, might want to sit this one out. But I will, this whole thing's going to be a piss take and a little party, a little album release party, hangout, Halloween party. And I will speak earnestly and sincerely about all this right now. I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to speak sincerely and honestly and from the heart about this record and this whole process once and never again. And it's right now. I want to thank some people first and foremost. I want to thank Dave at 20 Buck Spin. The day I came up with this idea for this whole thing, which not a lot of it made sense, especially concerning the rollout and stuff like that. Dave was down, man. It's been a joint venture since day one. And the coolest part of this process for me, writing songs and making albums that sort of help me and hopefully connect with other people and make us feel not so alone, and maybe sort of massage the melancholy and the wanderlust and all that out of us a little bit. One of the best parts is like having a physical record. You guys know how I feel about that. I talk about that all the time, the importance of having like a real thing that you can hold. And we'll be doing an unboxing and stuff, but got records, got CDs, and that's all thanks to Dave. So I appreciate that. Shout out 20 Buck Spin as always. I want to thank Jeff Henson, who engineered and mixed this record. All bias aside and my involvement aside, this is like my favorite sounding heavy record of the year. It's the truth, you know. It's I think it's important to be humble and to have humility, but it's important to tell the truth. And Jeff mixed the thing, man. So the way that it sounds is largely due to him. And I thank you, Jeff. Love working with him. I also want to shout out Alberto de Icaza. Hope I didn't fuck up your name. Who mastered it. This is like I don't hear a lot of heavy records that sound like this. I haven't heard a record that sounds like this just from a production standpoint in a really long time. These guys are old school. They're like students of the craft. They've put time in and it makes a difference. So I thank you, Jeff and Alberto. I want to really shine some light on the album artist, David Seidman. I'm going to put some of his work up and I'm going to go on a little mini rant here, but the real rants are coming later. Believe me. David Seidman is a brilliantly gifted artist. He's done horror movie poster reimaginings. He did an album cover for Stabbing Westward recently. I became aware of him through the last Ingested album. When I saw that cover, you know, you scroll through Instagram, you see a gazillion album covers all day long, or I do. And that one just jumped right out. And I knew immediately I needed to work with this guy. He just recently did a poster for Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. The guy is like the guy. And I emailed this dude and was like, I want a cover that combines these three things. And I mentioned Hypnosis, who did all the work in the 70s. He really channeled, I think, Wish You Were Here, one of the best album covers ever done by Hypnosis. I sent him the still of Michael Myers' silhouette on the patio of the house from the original Halloween. And then I sent him Magritte. I don't think you're supposed to roll that R, but Empire of Light, French surrealist painting that inspired William Friedkin's famous shot in The Exorcist of the priest standing at the doorway with the light coming through the window. And these are three kind of disparate images or styles. But when I saw David's work, I was like, that is the only guy I've seen that can do that. And when he sent me back this album cover, it was like, I had full body chills. I mean, it's like perfect. He somehow combined three things that really, I couldn't see the commonality in the artistic style, but he could, and he pulled it off. And here's my mini rant that I'll get into later, and I'm really going to hurt somebody's feelings. Hopefully, I hope he listens to this. This whole AI craze, you wonder sometimes like how people join cults and stuff like that, but then you see the stupidity of people on the internet. And if there's like one buzzword, every dumb, simple-minded, never had an original thought person in the world latches onto this shit. And these people, in the instance of AI, they're on the internet all day ranting about how AI is going to disenfranchise human artists and this and that. And then you have a human artist like David Seidman putting a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of experience into an original piece of work, human art. And these fucking morons on the internet who say AI is it's an insult to artists. It's going to disenfranchise human artists. A human artist puts out a piece they worked really hard on, and some fucking asshole is like, look at this shitty AI art. You could have looked at who did the art and known it wasn't AI. It's a human fucking being, dick. And I'm about to fuck you up later. Get ready. There's one specific guy in mind. We're going to read some internet comments later, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be partial humiliation ritual as well. I want to thank, I think I already did it, but I want to specifically thank the Big Riff Energy family. I know it's corny, but that's what it feels like. No shit. And Spirit of Drift fans, and yeah, just people that listen to this and listen to the music that I've made in the past. Like I said, you guys figured this whole thing out day one. The label was withholding all Nate Garrett YouTube comments. We apologize for that, but we were trying to keep kayfabe and keep the mystique, get people talking, and I'll get into why we did that. I want to thank the hardcore community, man. I have never I've made a lot of records and I've never felt the type of like new, fresh support from an entire like demographic, if you want to call it that, or fan base, or just, you know, passionate like subculture. And bro, you guys, I love you guys. The response from the hardcore community has been like astounding. That's why they call it hardcore, man. I just rewatched American Hardcore the other day and like felt like I was 15 again. So I thank you guys a lot. You guys really, when you support something, you support it big time. Also, relatively new experience on this one. I want to thank the ladies, man. The female demographic response to this. I'm a nerd. I look at like Spotify for artists and I pay attention to like album sales and ask questions, and I'm interested in all that. You know, priority number one, which is so much more important than any other priority, that I would get rid of everything else just to maintain the integrity of priority number one. Writing good songs that are sincere, that are from the heart, making albums that I'm pouring everything into, obsessing over, putting emotion in, and this album's no different. But I'm also like really fascinated in how all this stuff works, man. I think there's a whole art form to promoting your art and making sure that your art reaches the people that you want it to reach, you know? And I mentioned it briefly, like, I've always felt a little bit alone in the world. I've always felt like a melancholy or something in my bones, you know? And I would hear albums like Black Sabbath and Typo Negative and stuff like that, and it would make me feel connected, and it would like alleviate all of that. And my number one joy in life and my number one passion and pursuit in life is making albums that do that for me, but also do for others what a record like October Rust did for me when I was like this angsty, heartbroken, psychotic, like 16-year-old kid, you know, and we're all still that kid. So that's priority number one. But I am paying attention to like who's supporting this, who it's resonating with. I'm fascinated by that. And the response from the pre-existing fans is great. Thank you guys first and foremost. But the response from the hardcore community and the response from the gals, dude. And when I was working on this, I kind of felt like those would be some new fans coming on board with something like this. I was like, man, I feel like the hardcore folks will love this, because y'all are like obsessed with Typo Negative in the best possible way. Like, you study it, you know, just like me. And man, the ladies like the Typo Negative type of spirit or sound as well. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, man, priority number one, pouring my heart into whatever I'm doing. But anybody that makes something, art or pottery or jewelry or paintings or chefs who are passionate, you're lying, or you're just, I don't know, you got it all twisted if you don't, like, everyone wants people to like what they're making. That's just the truth. People try to act like, oh, I'm not a sellout or whatever, but like, you wouldn't be doing it. Like, you like it and you're trying to connect with other people who are like you, who need it, you know? And that's what I did here. There's a certain thing in me that's only alleviated by a very specific sound and a very specific vibe that I haven't heard since Peter Steele died. And I've been kind of like waiting for somebody to do it, and nobody did it. So I did it. That's the truth behind this album. That's it. There's a lot of other like bullshit, piss take, promo gimmicks and stuff like that. Straight up, that's what it is. I'll talk about the skeleton suit and stuff. Everybody's asking me the same questions about the skeleton suit and all that. But all I wanted to do here was make an album that would alleviate that thing inside of me, you know, and hopefully reach people that needed that thing to be alleviated as well. And it worked, thanks to you guys, man. You know, my only goal with making these albums is for them to my only goal, like materially, you know, is for them to be successful enough to where I can keep doing it. And before this album was even officially released, we've already crossed that threshold. And that's thanks to you guys, man. So I'm disgusted. I talked way too long and way too sincerely about this thing that's supposed to be fun. So we're going to get to the fun stuff now. Yeah, I'm going to talk about doing like press cycles and interviews. I have realized the only point in doing interviews is to draw attention to the thing that you made. But I've come to realize that, I'll just put it this way. If you guys have questions that you want answered regarding Neon Nightmare and the making of this album and the rollout and whatever, anything having to do with Neon Nightmare, write me directly, bigriffenergy@gmail.com. And I'll do interviews directly with the fans. That's kind of what this podcast is. Cuts out the middleman. Because, you know, I never used to like hate doing interviews, but I hate it. And I don't hate the people that are conducting the interviews. I don't resent that or like look down on, you know, I'm grateful for the interest for sure. But you don't connect with an album by reading some dorky label write-up about it or reading some dorky interview about the gear that they used or the songwriting process. Songwriters, to ask a songwriter about the songwriting process is asking somebody to explain something that they don't understand how it works, you know? Like the most magical songs just seem to come out of nowhere. And so and your average person's just not interested in that. So that's at the core of this whole like quote unquote mysterious rollout. All I wanted to do originally was put songs out with no information so that people wouldn't get caught up in the words, you know, the same way people get caught up with AI. Everything's AI. Everybody I know at a label right now, they say, no matter what we put out, there's a million idiots that say AI, like no matter what, you know. I didn't want to put out information and have the music be attached to something other than the music. I just wanted people to experience the music. But you know, you got to get people to pay attention. It's crazy. I had this whole idea of just, I don't know, an atypical album rollout. No information, just songs, just the videos. And I had this Bruce Springsteen book about Nebraska that was sent to me by a supporter of this podcast and guy I'd like to call a friend now in Germany. We're going to go see Bruce Springsteen together if he comes around. But I can never repay you, dude, because I had all these ideas swirling around in my head. I read this book. They're talking about how Springsteen put out Nebraska and refused to do interviews, and there was nothing, no information, no explanation, no excuses, no nothing. This is the new Bruce Springsteen album. Listen to it, and you decide what it is, right? I mean, that's how it should work. And Bruce said, it was that kind of record. I knew enough not to fuck with it, not to try and help people with it. That's very tempting as an artist. You want people to understand what you did, but they're not going to. They're not going to by you explaining it. The only way that they'll understand it is to experience the music themselves and feel it. You know, you want to experience music through feelings, not necessarily through like conscious thought. But I've done so many interviews where I do try to speak in great detail about the songwriting process or this or that or the riffs or the vocal approach. And, you know, again, most people listening to these records are not musicians. Most people are not that interested in that kind of stuff. At worst case scenario, anything you say in an interview about that can and will be used against you. You can say, you know, you can talk for 10 minutes about some deep, profound, perplexing aspect of songwriting. You have one sentence in there that's like a throwaway sentence that barely even applies to what you're talking about, and that gets turned into a headline and used against you. And now that idea is forever attached to your music, and you're infecting your own creation with some preconceived notion, you know? So it's almost like counterproductive to talk too much about your own stuff. And that's what Bruce is talking about here. I knew enough not to fuck with it, not to try and help people with it. It was yours. Once you bought it, it was yours. Notice he didn't say once you stream it, it was yours. Once you bought it, it was yours. You were going to have your own journey through it, and I didn't want to screw with what your trip was going to be. Whether I was going to do interviews or tour behind it wasn't something I remember having a lot of discussions about. I just didn't want to explain it. I thought I could only hurt the project that moment by trying to explain it, if I could explain it. Like I said, it was sort of an accident. I didn't want to talk about it. It would have been bad voodoo at that moment, would have been bad magic for the record. I believed that if I'm interested in it, they'll be interested in it. It's the Martin Scorsese quote, something like, "Your job as an artist is to make the audience care about your obsessions." His great films have come when he's done that. My good songs are when I've done that. So I was confident that I could do this. I could make my audience care about these people and stories and this kind of record. When I read that on the plane back home from shooting that goofy ass amazing they look like shadows video, I just about like jumped out of my seat, because that's exactly how I've been feeling about this whole thing. And part of it, you know, became sort of performance arty. This whole thing obviously is a heartfelt, deep, sincere tribute to Typo Negative specifically, and I feel like it branched out naturally to incorporate, you know, other stuff I'm obsessed with. Early Danzig, Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream, this band Wand from California was a big influence. Shoegaze and stuff like that. Killing Joke a little bit. Sabbath, of course. But I thought, you know, if this is going to be a real earnest tribute to Typo Negative, how would they be operating in the age of social media? You know, they faked Peter's death when he went to Rikers. They put a tombstone on their website that said R.I.P. Peter Steele. They took the piss out of everything. They pointed out the absurdity of everything, including themselves. And the people ask about the skeleton suit. I don't know, man. A lot of this stuff just started happening naturally. Put the first song out, didn't explain it, didn't say anything about it. It worked. I'm going to read some of the crazy comments here in a minute. But then you have to start doing interviews, and they need pictures and this and that. You know, not everybody's Bruce Springsteen. He could get away with doing 0 interviews and no press and no nothing. And he didn't have to worry about his record just like disappearing into the void, you know. Unfortunately, these days, there's just a lot of noise and a lot of bullshit that you have to pierce through, you know. And I was kind of seeing just, you know, I espouse positivity, and I try to focus on uplifting everything and being optimistic and all that. That's kind of like at the core of Spirit Adrift, being hopeful. And that's kind of at the core of this podcast. But my true nature is a natural born troublemaker, and miscreant, you know, breaking world records of getting sent to the principal's office, blowing shit up with like homemade improvised explosive devices, running from the police, going to jail because I told the police to fuck off. I know my rights, you know, that kind of stuff. And just like seeing the absurd. And I just imagine if Typo Negative was functioning right now in this age of social media and Live Nation and all of that crap, I tried to put myself in that mindset, and it was not hard because that's my true nature. Dudes and bands are absurd and should be mocked and ridiculed, including me. Even worse, music writers and critics are absurd and should be mocked and ridiculed. Social media itself is absurd and should be mocked and ridiculed. The fake humility of these guys and gals and people and folks in bands today is bullshit. I'm telling you, I know firsthand, and it should be mocked and ridiculed. But yeah, the skeleton suit, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I kind of want to keep this like hype going, you know? So, I saw a picture of Kenny Hickey right here. Kenny Hickey on the subway wearing the skeleton suit shirt, you know? I saw a picture or I was watching one of my favorites, Donnie Darko, you know, and I got an ad for a skeleton skeleton suit. So social media is not all that bad. So I bought it, and then I started thinking about, man, how many bands with just complete lackluster, nothing, quote unquote, music are popular because they wear goofy shit. Like, and I like a lot of bands that wear cool stuff. I like Midnight, you know, I like Ghost. I get it, but I think there's so many bands that people wouldn't even pay any attention to unless they were wearing something goofy. So I again, another thing to be mocked and ridiculed, and it worked. All these weird little ideas and theories that I had, you know, people were rightfully telling me, dude, people are going to know it's you the first song that comes out. And I'm like, that's not the point. Like, people who have heard Spirit Adrift will know, but most people aren't going to know. And I was right. And this whole thing about, like, man, all these bands I think get way more attention because they have costumes on. I was right. It worked. For some reason, people get like way more interested in it. So what started off as just an attempt to let the music speak for itself and not be infected by weird one-liners and headlines and clickbait from interviews, I realized it was turning into something else, and I just leaned into it. I leaned into the troll job. My wife and I were watching a pro wrestling documentary, the Attitude Era. That's the only little era of wrestling that I watched. I was like 8 to 10 years old or something like that. Perfect time. And you know, I played the Undertaker music earlier. I think I have underestimated the influence that that guy had on my future aesthetic, you know. But she, at one point in the documentary, she looks at me and she's like, "Don't take this the wrong way." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "If you were a pro wrestler, you would be the heel." And I was like, "Hell yeah. What do you mean take it the wrong way? Of course I would." So I leaned into the heel turn with this, and it's been a lot of fun, man. There's a lot of things that deserve to be mocked and ridiculed. And again, it's like, I've heard a phrase recently that I really liked. Take the work seriously, don't take yourself seriously. You know, don't get it twisted that this album, the music and the songs and all of that work and all of that love that went into it, don't get it twisted that that's part of any like bit or anything like that. It's not. The album is the album, and again, it speaks for itself. One of the goals was, I knew that if there were enough people out in the world that missed that sound and that vibe as much as I did and needed it as much as I did, and no one's doing it, I knew that this music would find the people it was meant for, and it did, and it continues to do so. I was hoping, however, to have an extremely divisive reaction, which we also accomplished. A lot of people got really fucking mad. And again, it wouldn't be a proper tribute to Type O if that wasn't the case. That's what happened to them as well. They were getting shit thrown at them, got run out of Europe on their first tour. You know, I got to do this shit right. So thank you to everyone that has erupted with outrage and criticism and everything. Like, you guys, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I appreciate that almost as much as the people that love it, because you are an unwitting participant in this little bullshit experiment of mine. And more people have heard of this because of you guys. So thank you. What else am I talking about? Skeleton Suit. I wrote some stuff down because I really wanted to get this right. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the record any more specifically than that, because it's boring, but listen to it. That's all I can say. And if you have like a very specific question about it, email me, bigriffenergy@gmail.com, and I'll answer it on subsequent episodes. That's it, man. Music is how we can feel connected and not so alone. And that is the only thing that actually matters about this album that I made. What's the mystery / costume / troll job? I did all of that. You know what? Let's read some comments, shall we? Okay. YouTube is fun, man. I really like YouTube. Here's one of my favorites. All right, comments coming up right here. Signal to myself somewhere here. I love this one. This is one of my favorites. We got blue typo negative before Grand Theft Auto 6. That's good. I love that kind of stuff. See, it's fun. It's kind of like poking fun out of it, but it's fun. Clones. All right. This was kind of at the core of my thinking when I initiated this whole process. Another YouTube comment. I have wondered very often. We have 1 million Carcass clones, tons of German Thrash clones, King Diamond clones, everything in between. When would there finally be a typo negative clone? I can't blame people for not trying. They have a depth, I think, that is hard to imitate. This is not bad. Let's see if it grows on me. Yeah, he gets it. Ding, ding, ding. Got to punch in the sound effect there. There was so much Kenny Hickey, Josh Silver conjecture that I hope nobody's sensitive and taking this as like criticisms. I love this. I just love it. It's telling me that I did a good job. The AI comments are telling me I did a good job too. But here's one. It's giving Kenny Hickey and Josh vibes. I was thinking Josh too. There's like 1 million of these. I love it. Kenny Hickey has to be involved. Sounds amazing. Thank you. Totally sounds like Kenny. He's going to fucking kill me. Here's an interesting one. People were saying, man, this sounds like typo negative, whatever. This guy said, I'm sorry, dude. People were really nice to this guy and corrected him in like the most gracious way, but this is too good. This is Josh Silver's band, as in the guitarist from Type O. So yeah, I'd say so. LOL. People, please look shit up. Like, just type in Google Josh Silver typo negative. You will see that he played keyboards in typo negative. Please. You know, Dave withholds a lot of comments, and I told him to let all the hateful ones through on YouTube because I legitimately want that. Some of these comments he's withholding because he's nicer than me. He doesn't want you guys embarrassing yourself. But he sent me one that I'm going to get to later that, sorry, man, he's probably not ever going to send me comments again. Here's a good one. This guy's losing money, all right? No way this isn't directly related to the typo negative guys. I'd bet money on it. Jeff Metal, let me know your PayPal or Cash App, and I'll reimburse however much money you lost on that. This is beautiful. I can't tell if this is real or trolling. Stinky Britches 9104. I hear typo, as others have said, but I also hear a hint of mushroom head. All right. Here's a good one. The Benson Hoist Lesbian Choir. Either there are some typo members involved in this band, or it's the best promotion stunt of the year. Whatever. I love this. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that'd be fun. Benson Hurst, old mafia neighborhood. Benson Hoist Lesbian Choir was just what the typo dudes called themselves and their friends when they were doing like big gang vocals and choir vocals and stuff like that. So I did a bunch of big choir vocals and called myself the Benson Hoist Lesbian Choir. Oh boy, this one's good. I told Dave to let this one through. He'll text me like really funny ones. And I'm like, please let that through. All right, Poison Ivy. Again, trigger warning. If you don't like people getting mercilessly roasted, you skip this one. This, goddamn. Here we go. Poison Ivy. This is a huge ripoff typo. And like all the other bands who have tried this, what other band? There's like 3 other bands that have tried this. It does not work. And I would agree with you about the other bands for sure. And maybe this one. I don't know. No one in typo negative would work on a project like this. I can appreciate bands that take inspiration from others, but not this. Anyone, use some fucking punctuation, Poison Ivy. Anyone who thinks that is Kenny singing has no clue, and it's, dude, she was pissed when she was typing this, and it's not a real fan. I hate all these wannabe typo bites. What do you mean? There's like 3 of them. This is pretty much plagiarism. Yeah, you're not wrong there. Nice try, but no one will ever be typo. I wish people would quit trying so hard. She wishes people would quit trying so hard. Yeah, clearly. I can't believe I'm the only one on this thread who takes the stance. Yeah. Bravo, man. People who comment on the internet are the real heroes of this world. You guys are really making a difference. These guys are rip-off posers at best, thumbs down. What a fucking train wreck, dude. Get a hold of yourself. Okay, it sounds like Poison Ivy hasn't been laid since Bloody Kisses came out. I kind of feel bad for her. So if anybody out there listening is into menopausal gothic cat ladies with extreme temper issues, feel free to look up Poison Ivy and go blow the dust off of that thing. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna read one nice one. This is fun. We're just having fun. Heel turn, remember. But this is the real shit, man, that like, okay, Peter Steele is somewhere feeling genuine pride. I know. Dude, honestly, you don't know. There might be nothing after we die. That's a very strong possibility. But there was a lot of feedback like that, and I think that's a good note to end it on because I really appreciate that. And I meant this shit from my heart, man. I'm as big a fan as anybody on this planet. So thank you to whoever said that, and there were a lot of you. Thank you. All right, here's the good one. We're gonna do the first ever Big Riff Energy tutorial / playthrough. I'm gonna show y'all how to play a riff from the Neon Nightmare album. Thanks to this guy, Jacked Off. Yeah, Dave sent me this comment. He said, I'm not letting this through. This is a guy, when I was ranting earlier about David Seidman's wonderful, beautiful artwork and people calling it AI artwork. This guy Jacked Off here, he wrote a fucking, this is one paragraph of like 10 paragraphs. And every single thing that he says is factually incorrect. And even just in this first paragraph, there are too many self-contradictions to even wrap your head around. The organ is mysteriously out of key with the other synth. The bass line is a completely nonsensical phrase without resolution. Everything sounds muddy. It seems very likely this is AI, procedurally generated music, stitching together a song based on Be My Druidess and Burnt Flowers Fallen. Essentially none of the rudimentary concepts of songwriting from several decades of rock songwriting, kind of redundant, bro, are present here, and it's unnerving. Unnerved his ass. Okay, so let's work backwards here. None of the rudimentary concepts of songwriting from several decades are present, yet he specifically mentions 2 songs from the last several decades of rock music. So make that make sense. The bass line is a nonsensical phrase without resolution. I'm going to show you here in a second that that's actually not true. The organ is mysteriously out of key with the other synth. If it's AI, wouldn't it tune the organ perfectly to the other synth? It almost seems like if something was just like slightly out of tune with something else, that might be human involvement. So, I don't give a shit about these criticisms. That's all factually incorrect, and it's fun. What I really took issue with was a later paragraph where he was shitting on David Seidman's artwork. You can fuck with me all you want, but that guy has worked really hard to make really cool artwork, and he's a human being, and it's very easy to find out who made the artwork and that it was made by a human being. So I got really fucking mad about that. So we're going to do a little playthrough. Here we are. First ever. Okay, welcome to the very first Big Riff Energy playthrough / tutorial / humiliation ritual. I've been wanting to incorporate this kind of thing into the podcast for a while. Finally figured it out thanks to our shallow-minded, easily manipulated, non-playable character sheep of an internet troll. So thank you. Now, first of all, This is not the setup I used on the record. I'm at home right now. I recorded the album in an actual studio, which I'm assuming you've never stepped foot in. But for our purposes today, I'm using a 1988 Japanese P-Bass, the year of my birth, and a Neural DSP dark glass plugin on the Alex Webster's setting. I also have a chorus pedal. Of course, as much as I'm flattered by your comment about this bass line not being like anything that's ever been heard in the history of human songwriting or recording, my simple friend, it's a pretty straightforward part. There's actually kind of two bass lines going on simultaneously. The first one is about as standard as it gets. I mean, it's, again, I appreciate you saying that it's so unique and unheard of that it couldn't possibly be human, but it's pretty simple. Here it is. I know you said didn't resolve, but that's what we call a resolving when it goes back to the original note, right? This would be called an ascending bass line, right? That's an octave, but I go to the lower octave. I know this is all Greek to you, but yeah, that's the first one. Right? Second bass line is kind of like more of a lead or a riff kind of deal. Again, this novel concept of an octave. Never before heard in the history of human music, so it has to be machines, right? But here's the second part. Kind of like a Geezer Butler, best bass player ever. But again, standard stuff. Not that hard. You put them together, and it's the sound you hear on the record. Not that hard, but I do appreciate you telling me that I've written something that is so alien and conceptually foreign to your mind that it couldn't possibly be human. Thank you. And thank you all for humoring the pettiest thing I've ever done. I'll do more of these. Yeah, that was fun. All right, I didn't clearly did not use AI to write something as simple as straightforward as that. But you know what? I am going to start using AI. You've inspired me, my friend. I'm going to use AI to program a Tesla robot to triangulate your coordinates, come to your house, kick your front door in, drag you over here so you can suck my dick. Okay. Thank you very much for humoring me there. All right, an unboxing. Everybody loves a good unboxing. This will be the last little thing I do. Thanks for sticking around. Dude, thanks so much again to everybody that has listened to this stuff, sent their love. You know, I've been getting a ton of messages and emails and obviously comments and all that. Thanks to everyone that has hated on it because you've just made it more of a fulfilling, resounding success. And I get to make more Neon Nightmare records thanks to you guys. So I appreciate it. Yeah, man, people been asking where to get the record in Europe. So like I said, it's streaming on 20 Buck Spins YouTube right now. So you can go listen to the whole thing, go talk some shit, whatever. The meaner, the better. Please bring it on. Yeah, the record's out tonight at midnight, streaming everywhere, wherever you listen to music. Most of you have already received your physical copies, which we're about to unbox. 20buckspin.com in North America. There's some merch up there too. This t-shirt, the long sleeve I was wearing earlier, Night Shift merch has a couple t-shirts. I'm going to be doing some exclusive stuff with Beyond Human merch that's even more absurd and fun than the night shift designs. Cool shirts, 420.69. Going to have some very limited tie-dye shirts and stuff like that. But 20buckspin.com for the records and CDs. In Europe, it's available pretty much like everywhere. I saw Season of Mist is carrying it, Nuclear Blast. But I would highly recommend, if you like supporting like underground, real, independent, like 1 or 2 person labels, you know, small businesses, get it from High Roller Records in Germany. I love that label. They do a lot of like I have a Saint Vitus V reissue. I have that Tank, Filth Hounds of Hades reissue, all kinds of great stuff. So I'm honored that the record is being distributed by High Roller. So get it from them or Van Records. Really great labels, both super respectable. I'm fans of the labels. And yeah, I'm thrilled and honored that cool, real ass metal labels are carrying this crazy record that I made. There's links to all of this in the description. Links to the Look Like Shadows video. It's a lot of fun, man. I'm telling you. Links to the full album stream. Links to purchase physical records. And I'll say, man, I do this podcast for free. I do a lot of shit. I do guitar tutorials on the Spirit of Drift page and all this stuff. I put it out there because I like this community that we've created together. But if you like this podcast, if you're a fan, the best way to support this and to support me, make sure that I can keep making records, is to spend your hard-earned money on a physical copy. Streaming's cool too, but not really, actually. Fuck you. Nah, if you dig it, please pick it up. And I mean, we're good. We crossed the threshold of what I would consider a smash success for a debut record. But yeah, man, I'm gonna unbox this thing. First of all, I guess I could show the CD. I love the actual CD itself. Pretty fun. And oh yeah, I gotta tell you, there's something on the CD that is not on any other format, and it's a super duper throwback to 90s. I don't want to say gimmicks, but stuff that is associated with CDs that came out in the 90s. I'll just say that. Yeah, and the booklet's a little more expansive than the vinyl. The CD book, when you fold it out, is the full David Seidman artwork. AI artwork, of course. So there's a CD. So here we go. Unboxing. Okay. I love the hype sticker too. Little cool write-up. I bought CDs back in the day when I was a teenager just based on this little hype sticker. I bought the first Darkness album because of the hype sticker. I bought Satyricon, Now Diabolical, because of the hype sticker and the cover. Still 2 of my favorite albums. Big time nostalgia factor for sure. Seidman is a digital painter, and there's something about that medium that translates really, really strongly to CDs and vinyl packaging. God, I love this album art so much. This is B1. Oh, by the way, there was an extra box of this variant that fell off a truck in Bensonhurst. So this one actually is available, but it's pretty limited. So if you missed out on B1, go to 20buckspin.com. It's up there. This is my favorite. Sorry, Dave. They're all cool, but this one's easily my favorite. I insisted on incorporating the orange. There's no orange on the front cover, but there is the orange window on the back. And I realized black and orange, Halloween, blue and white album art. Beautiful. I love that variant. I am not taking very good care of these, but I'm going to keep them forever myself. So who cares? That was B1. This is B2. This does not show up in pictures. It's yeah, iridescent blue marble, I think it is. It almost changes colors like, I mean, it totally does. It goes from like a black to a gray to a blue. There's some white in there, obviously. That one's fun, man. Yep, that's B2. We're going to look at B3, Hammond B3 organ. Electric blue, aqua blue, cloudy. Now that one pops in the light, man. That's definitely hard to pick up on camera. Black vinyl. I want to show this one because, I mean, you guys know what black vinyl looks like, but I think the logo looks the best on this one. On the label there. It's like glowing. Oh, I want to thank Chimera Noir, our friend Jose, who did the layout. He did a stellar job. He laid out the, did the graphic design for the vinyl and the CD and the t-shirts. So Chimera Noir does a lot of work for all the best labels, Profound Lore and $20 Spin and others. I think that's it, man. Hell yeah. Happy Halloween, guys. And again, like, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. It's been a heel turn, but the record speaks for itself. So don't get too caught up in all that bullshit, literally just trying to get attention, because that's what you have to do these days. But you know what? It's hard to figure out a way to do that feels natural and that's fun and real. And I figured it out. I use this podcast as a way to like uplift stuff that I like, and I'm just like incessantly positive to the point that it's like sickening even to me at times. This is who I am. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll be damned. Okay, now I'm going to do what I do every time I put out an album and turn my phone off for 3 to 5 business days. Send me your questions, bigriffenergy@gmail.com. Spread the word on Neon Nightmare, man. It's, Dave at $20 took a big risk with this. So did I, but I'm willing to eat shit. I really don't care. But, I want to make sure it's worth it for him. And it has been, but you guys can make sure that it's really worth it from him, because that dude puts out whatever 10 or 12 really good records a year, if not more. So pick it up if you dig it, jam it, spread the word, tag us, talk shit, or say nice things. I really don't care. And I love y'all, man. The support has been astounding, and it feels good. So phone's going off for 3 to 5 business days, and then I'll be getting to your questions. bigriffenergy@gmail.com. Subscribe to this podcast if you want more of this kind of stuff. And pretty soon it'll be time to write a Spirit Adrift record. I done been writing it, but it'll be time to actually, do the damn thing. All right. I love you guys. Not really. Fuck off.